Welcome everyone, I'm Dale and this is Cinema Historia. A romantic couple, a nearby inventor, and a vision using a gravity substance. This week we're going back to 1964 for a British science fiction film called First Men in the Moon, starring Edward Judd, Martha Hyer, and Lionel Jeffries. And this is directed by Nathan Duran with visual effects by Ray Harryhausen. So, where does our story begin this week? Well, our story begins as a flashback in 1899 in Dymchurch, Kent, southeast England. Arnold Bedford, played by Edward Judd, lives at a romantic spot, Cherry Cottage, next to a canal in Dymchurch. His fiancée, Catherine Callender, played by Martha Hyer, known as Kate, pays him a visit arriving by car to see the cottage for the first time. Unbeknownst to Kate, it is implied that Bedford is in financial difficulties after receiving a letter about his rent being well past due. While Bedford is in town, Kate is met with nearby neighbor inventor Joseph Cavor, played by Lionel Jeffries, who wants to buy the cottage just in case his experiments should damage it. Arriving back home, Bedford is upset that Kate agreed to sell the cottage on his behalf, so he angrily pays Cavor a visit. At Cavor's house, Bedford is introduced to a large laboratory where the inventor has developed a substance called cavorite that will let anything it is applied to nullify the force of gravity. Bedford is intrigued after finding out Cavor is making plans to use it to travel to the moon, where there is an abundance of gold nuggets, or so he says. Finding out Cavor has already built a spherical spaceship in his greenhouse, Bedford has deeds drawn up and signed in Kate's name, selling a cottage he does not own to Cavor for £5,000. After being summoned and charged with selling a property she doesn't own, Kate storms over to the greenhouse just as the spaceship is taking off and is now along for the ride. Loaded with deep-sea diving suits, sardines, chickens, and an elephant gun, they eventually crash land on the moon's lunar surface. With Kate staying back at the ship, Bedford and Cavor leave to explore, eventually falling down a vertical shaft, where they are met with selenites, a giant caterpillar-like moon bull, and the leader of the selenites, the Grand Lunar. So, are our three adventures now on trial and not allowed to leave? Does a vertical shaft of light help a daring escape, or does someone voluntarily stay behind on the moon? The film, distributed by Columbia Pictures, is an adaptation by screenwriter Nigel Neal of H.G. Wells' 1901 novel First Men in the Moon. The film was made 5 years prior to men first landing on the moon. However, the spacesuit type worn by the film's UN astronauts is actually the Windac high-altitude pressure suit developed by the Royal Air Force. Variety wrote, Ray Harryhausen and his special effects men have another high old time in this science fiction. Wells' novel has been neatly updated, and TV Guide called it an enjoyable science fiction, a fun and exciting viewing experience. And I would totally agree, this film is a lot of fun. And our trivia question this week, was something unique named after someone related to our film? Was something unique named after someone related to our film? So a little more history, and the answer to our trivia question, coming up next. Now, since Ray Harryhausen provided the stop animation effects for our film, that's the subject of this week's history. So, Raymond Frederick Harryhausen was an American, British animator and special effects creator who created a form of stop-motion model animation known as dynamation, an animated filmmaking technique in which objects are physically manipulated in small increments, appearing to exhibit independent motion. Born June 20th, 1920 in Los Angeles, California, at the age of 13, his mother took him to Grauman's Chinese Theater in LA in 1933 to see the adventure monster film King Kong. Being in awe of the stop-motion animated creatures on the island and Kong were the work of pioneer model animator Willis O'Brien. Inspired, he turned the family garage into a hobby house and encouraged a school friend to arrange a meeting with O'Brien. O'Brien, seeing Harryhausen's early models, urged him to take classes in graphic arts and sculpture to hone his skills. Harryhausen took evening classes in art direction, photography, and editing at the School of Cinematic Arts. He soon became friends with writer Ray Bradbury, both joining the Los Angeles chapter of the Science Fiction League, where in 1939 they met science fiction editor Forrest J. Ackerman. After studying art and anatomy at Los Angeles City College, Harryhausen secured his first commercial model animation job on George Powell's Puppetoons shorts. Serving under Colonel Frank Capra in World War II, he came home and worked with composer Dmitri Tiomkin and Ted Geisel, yes, Dr. Seuss. In 1947, Harryhausen was hired as an assistant animator on what turned out to be his first major film, Mighty Joe Young, in 1949. The first film with Ray Harryhausen in full charge of technical effects was The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms in 1953. Harryhausen went on to amazing future works such as It Came from Beneath the Sea, 1955, The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, 1958, Mysterious Island in 1961, Jason and the Argonauts in 1963, First Men in the Moon in 64, and 1 Million Years BC with Raquel Welch in 1966, just to name a few. Retiring in 1981, Ray Harryhausen was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2003, inducted into the Science Fiction Hall of Fame in 2005, and was awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Visual Effects Society in 2011, and the list of awards goes on and on. Just amazing. And the answer to our trivia question this week was something unique named after someone related to our film. Yes, a lunar impact crater that is located on the far side of the moon is named the H.G. Wells crater. The crater behind the northeast limb lies to the south of the crater Millikan and to the northeast of Cantor. An image has been taken from Lunar Orbiter 5 facing west, Apollo 16 mapping camera, and Apollo 14's Hasselblad camera. The H.G. Wells crater was named after the author of First Men in the Moon in 1970. Isn't that cool? I'd like to take the time to give a big thank you to all my new subscribers. Thanks for jumping on board and helping my channel. And to everyone else viewing this week, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope to see you back next week.